Good evening, guys. I thought I would do a quick little overview of how I make a pencil backing board that you can use to write on in between pages so that you don't leave indentations on the page underneath. This is especially useful for journals that use very thin paper that's fountain pen friendly. This paper is coated, first of all, so that it does not dry fast, which allows fountain pen inks to show off their sheens and shimmers and shading properties. These characteristics work best if they're allowed a proper amount of time to dry before sinking into the page. So a coating is applied to those thin papers to allow that to happen. A pencil board is designed to fit in between pages to prevent transfer of indentation from the nib or pencil that you're using to the page following. So what I've done is I have cut a piece of just plain white cardstock to just the right size to fit inside of one of these plastic pouches that the Coffee Monsters Co. ships their products to you in. And this cardstock is just thick enough that it's going to give a little bit of support, especially when bound inside of a laminating sheet, which will give it even more support. I have chosen a matte finish because I love that look. There are also glossy finishes, and you can also choose either 3mm thickness or 5mm thickness. This is a 3mm thickness, but I'm going to laminate it as though it were 5mm thickness because I want that extra heat to really help seal the edges down. So what I'm gonna do, this might be tricky one-handed, is I'm going to line my bag-covered cardstock paper inside the pouch. And I'm aiming to have an equal margin on all sides. And this is an A5 size pencil board from Orion's Japan Quality, and it's got a grit on one side and it's a lovely texture. And I love this size because it just slightly overhangs an A5 page, so you don't lose it in between. There's always a little bit sticking out. So I like to stick that underneath this, and it sort of gives me a guideline for how I'm lining up. And as you can see, I'm too high, I'm too right. So, one-handed, sorry about the quality, guys, I'm going to just finagle this to the position that I want it to be so that it's as centered as possible. And the whole goal with this portion of the fiddly parts is to get as centered as possible so that you have to do as little trimming as possible afterwards. I find that when you trim laminated objects, sometimes you can cut in such a way that the edges split apart and you find it necessary to laminate again. So, a little trimming as possible helps to eliminate some of that. So it's worth it to take the extra time and be just a little extra fiddly to save time on the end. Now I've gone a little too far. So using this time to wait for my laminating machine to heat up, I might as well put it to good use and pull that out just a little bit. I'm completely eyeballing this, which I should have a ruler handy to measure. I think I'm good enough. So I've got a little bit of overhang on all sides, and the pouch that I'm using even includes an extra amount that I'll be able to have a tab on the top, which is nice because you'll be able to flip through this. Pro tip, when you're feeding your document into your laminator, do the sealed side first and guide it gently and slowly without pushing or pulling. Let the machine do all the work. That way it pulls at an even pace and you don't get any crooked spots. It will just grab it lightly, and your only job is to give it a little support so it doesn't drag. You may have to run this through the machine 2, sometimes even 3 times to get a full seal, but once it comes out on the other side, look how pretty that is. It's a matte finish, but a little bit of the frostiness of this material has disappeared, and now the image underneath is very pretty. So I'm going to run this through 1 or 2 more times, and then I will take it back up to the craft room, and I will use my guillotine trimmer, and I will cut the excess off, and I will use a paper corner rounder to give it a nice aesthetically pleasing look. So I'll post a picture following this, and I hope you guys like it. Have a great night.